Welcome on in, everybody. Today is the review of Jessica Jones Season 1. I am Bladen. That is Joe. We have committed ourselves to rewatching everything in the MCU, including the shows.
Wow. Shows for you, movies for me.
I'm watching the shows. We committed ourselves to reviewing everything in the MCU, is the more apt term, except for a few exceptions like Cloak and Dagger and some stuff like that.
Maybe we'll get to that.
I don't know. Maybe.
It depends.
Maybe once we're done with all the movie stuff and all the main stuff, before Secret Wars comes out.
Then we got to do like the New Mutants and
Yeah. All right. Whatever.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. But today we are reviewing Jessica Jones Season 1. Joe is going to run down through all the episodes and then give us a synopsis of the entire season. And then he's going to sort of interview me on my thoughts about the show and the series and everything like that. And that's how we're going to do this review. Very similar to how we did or exactly the same as how we did the Daredevil Season 1 review. I'm getting tired of talking, so I'm going to let him take over.
So, for Season 1, you have, I think it was 13 episodes again.
I think it's all 13 episodes, every Netflix show.
I think Iron Fist Season 2 had only 10, but that could be me.
We'll get there.
So, Season 1, Episode 1, aka Ladies' Nights. Each one says aka at the start. I'm not going to list that every single time because that would just get frustrating. Then you have Episode 2, Crush Syndrome. Episode 3, It's Called Whiskey. Episode 4, 99 Friends. Episode 5, The Sandwich Saved Me. Episode 6, You're a Winner. Episode 7, Top Shelf Perverts. Episode 8, What Would Jesus Do? Weird way to put it. Episode 9, Sin Bin. Episode 10, 1,000 Cuts. Episode 11, I've Got the Blues. Episode 12, Take a Bloody Number. Episode 13, aka Smile. So, very weird titling for the show compared to the first.
I didn't really look at the titles on it.
Yeah.
I looked at a few, but I didn't know those are the titles.
There are some really weird ones.
Some of them do make sense for what happens in the episode.
The What Would Jesus Do one is just the WWJD, so I assume they substitute Jesus for Jessica, which what would Jessica do? Frustrated by, but that's me personally.
It is what would Jessica do?
Yeah, gosh. Anyways, so quick synopsis. First season of Jessica Jones follows the former superhero Jessica Jones, who becomes a private investigator in New York City after her superhero career ends tragically. She battles personal demons, including PTSD, while taking on cases that often involve people with special abilities, particularly focused on her traumatic past with the mind-controlling villain, Kilgrave. So, one of the few things that I do remember about the show is that David Tennant is really good as a villain. And it's just...
Do we have a hot takes about the show?
That'd be for you. I only watched like the first 2 episodes.
So let's get into the questions.
Okay, so was it a good season?
This was a good season of TV. My only problem with it is that it started off pretty slow. It took me a little while to get into the show. Yeah. But once we got to around episode 5 or 6, I was really hooked on it. But the beginning of the series was a little slow, in my opinion.
Which, if you have 13 episodes an hour each, that's not a good thing.
Yeah. But once you get through the first 5 or 6 episodes, it hooks you good.
Yeah. And as I said, I only watched like the first 1 or 2 episodes, and then I watched clips with David Tennant as Kilgrave. So, obviously for me, that was the highlight, was him, but I didn't really see the show, so so it's hard to say.
What question is hot take about the show?
It would be like the last question, aside from ranking, what stood out to you, and that could be your hot takes part. But CGI and stunts.
Okay, so
coming off of Daredevil, I assume it's not near as good.
No, it's definitely not. We don't get a lot of fight scenes in this show. There are some brawls, but it's never like choreographed action. It always feels like it's a real fight, but in a different way from how Daredevil did. Daredevil was very good at showing the brutality of it all, and so is this show, but it's less of a superhero fight and more of like just a
Just a
fight.
brawl.
Yeah, just people punching each other, and that's pretty much it. And there's not really any use of CGI or special effects
that you noticed anyways.
that I noticed. I mean, there is the scene where Luke Cage's bar gets blown up, which they could have honestly filmed practically in like a corner lot. It looked very practical to me, but another thing I was very surprised about is how much Luke Cage was in this show.
Yeah, no,
I
do remember that.
He is in it quite a bit. I expected him to be in the show a little bit because of Jessica Jones and Luke Cage's history in the comics, but I didn't expect him to be like a main character of this season, especially since he has his own show. And this really did feel like a backdoor pilot to the Luke Cage show, which guess is what it would be.
One of the things that I forgot to even ask about in the Daredevil review, Claire. Does Claire show up in Jessica Jones?
Claire shows up in the last episode, which I just watched, actually.
So, because I remember her being a pretty decent part of
the Luke Cage show.
Luke Cage, she was part of the Daredevil show, at least in season 2. And she was like supposed to be the connecting factor, I guess.
Yeah, she really does.
Which you didn't need when you have Jessica Jones introducing Luke Cage.
She does link the shows together in a very cool way. We obviously get introduced to her in Daredevil season 1, and
she was in
season 1.
I couldn't remember if
she was in Daredevil season 1, and we do see her helping Matt and everything, and then their fallout by the end of that season. And then we see in Jessica Jones, she's still working at the hospital, and she actually is dropping mentions of Matt Murdock to Jessica Jones, like not by name or anything, but being like, I know people with powers. Like, I know heroes.
You're not the first.
You're not the first I've seen. Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
But there are a few spots in the show where it did kind of pull me out of it, and it's every single time Jessica Jones leaps. So in the comics, Jessica Jones has the power of flight, or she can like how Superman was before TV. Like he can high jumps, he can land. It's just the way they filmed her dismount from the ground. It was like really, really weird to me,
jarring.
But it only happened less than a handful of times, so it's not something that I'm gonna complain too much about.
Yeah, like they pulled back. Yeah, obviously they could tell it wasn't.
This show could have been just a private detective show, and the only thing they would have had to change is Kilgrave not having powers, and it would have worked perfectly fine.
That's an interesting way to have it.
Because this isn't really a superhero show per se. It's a show with superpowered people in it.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say that about Daredevil. I would say Daredevil is a superhero show.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like the storylines they go through in Daredevil are definitely more superpowered focused, whereas what I remember of Jessica Jones, which is probably part of what put me off from it initially, was like it wasn't really superpower focused, which would have been more interesting in my mind. At least for a show that you're doing right next to Daredevil. But again, I didn't watch the whole show, so I couldn't say for sure. But do you think this season fit into the MCU?
This season actually has more connection to the MCU than Daredevil did. We get mentions of the Hulk. We get hints about Captain America. We actually see a kid in I think it's Central Park running in a full Captain America Halloween costume, which I thought was pretty cool. We get mentions about the whole thing going on with the Chitauri and everything like that.
In Daredevil,
and it does connect pretty well into the MCU
without
being in directly.
That's good, especially because at this point there was no plans, obviously, for these characters to ever be in the MCU.
No, so I think the way the deal worked was Kevin Feige said that the shows were able to make allusions and hint at the movies, but they couldn't directly come out and say they were connected, and the movies would never directly connect to the shows.
Yeah, which is fine in my mind.
So they were always planned to be connected, but not
connected.
Yeah.
Not intertwined together.
Yes.
But obviously things change
Mhm.
eventually.
Yeah.
Where we are now.
Yep.
But do you have a favorite episode of the season?
I'm gonna give 2 again. I think what I'm gonna do is give 2 favorite episodes because
13 episodes.
yeah.
So
Number episode number 7 and 8. What episodes were those? I think that
I'll have to look.
I think it was 7 and 8. It could have been 6 or 7.
Ooh. 7 is Top Shelf Perverts, and 8 is What Would Jessica Do?
Yep. So episodes 7 and 8 are my personal 2 favorite episodes of the series. This is where we've seen Kilgrave, or the Purple Man,
Yeah.
as he is usually referred to in the comics. But we see Kilgrave in earlier episodes, but these 2 episodes are the ones that really introduce him to the audience. They show us a little bit of why he's doing what he's doing. He's very sadistic, very very creepy and weird.
I mean, again, David Tennant, highlight of the show from what I saw of it.
So I'm gonna give my hot take now.
Okay.
David Tennant's portrayal of Kilgrave is a top 5 MCU villain of all time.
If it was MCU.
It is.
I mean, technically,
would you count Vincent D'Onofrio as being?
Well, yeah, but he's already appeared.
But Jessica Jones is not.
I wouldn't count
season
Vincent
2.
D'Onofrio from the Daredevil seasons, but I would count Vincent D'Onofrio as MCU because, I mean, he was in Hawkeye. You have Daredevil Born Again. Like,
yeah, but we're getting Jessica Jones in.
Yeah, but again, I'm not counting like Netflix as MCU quite yet. Like, one, because I haven't seen all of the Netflix stuff.
Yeah.
So,
but
at this point, I wouldn't count it as MCU quite as the same.
But I think if I had to think off the top of my head of all the MCU villains with the Netflix shows in mind, Kilgrave would be a top 5. So he's up there with
we'll have to do a top 5 villains or something.
Vincent D'Onofrio. This is in no particular order. These are my top 5 MCU villains. You have Thanos, obviously.
Yeah.
Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin. Kilgrave. I would probably say I would probably say High Evolutionary is up there too. And then for my number 5, I would probably go, for me, Pierce.
Alexander Pierce for me. Just the subtleties for him.
I'd probably go Ultron.
I can respect that.
I would say Loki, but at this point, he's not a villain.
He's not a villain. He's really only a villain in the first Thor movie, and that's it. Which is
and the Avengers.
Well, even that,
he's not the main villain, but he is
more than he is the villain, which is why I say he's really only a villain.
I guess that works. Yeah.
But yeah, so favorite characters. I assume that's gonna play into your hot take there.
Yeah, so Kilgrave is definitely one of my favorite characters of the show. I wouldn't say he is my favorite. He is.
I mean, it's hard to say when the villain's so good.
He does steal the show, but I don't think he's one of my favorite characters. Luke Cage is up there. Jessica Jones, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, main character.
Yeah, and I would also probably say there's a side character in this show. I can't remember his name. But
I don't know if you can put him as your favorite.
I'm not saying he's my favorite. I'm saying he's a good character in the show. He's one of the side characters. When we first get introduced to him, he's a junkie. Like he's shooting heroin, doing all that, and it's revealed to us later in the season that Kilgrave hooked him on heroin in order to get him to spy on Jessica, and then just his story of going from a junkie to one of the heroes of the show was a very cool character arc.
Yeah, that's good. Anything that stood out to you overall?
The way that they didn't shy away from showing but calling it as it is. They call what Kilgrave did to Jessica rape in this show. They don't shy away from it, which I thought was very brave of the show to do, which I guess it would have been easier since the show was on Netflix, but especially now that it's on Disney Plus, it's like, wow. Yeah. They just went right out and said
I haven't watched it on Disney Plus, so it's possible that they try and...
They don't.
Well, I'm not saying that they, like, take out the words, but they probably, like, could have edited some of the scenes. Some of
They
the things I've
may-
seen from Disney Plus.
They may have,
And
but I
it's like-
don't think that they did.
Yeah.
I'd have to look that up.
Yeah. It would have to be
another
original.
character that we get in this show that I haven't mentioned was we get Nuke.
Oh, okay.
Nuke in this show. He's starts out as a beat cop who is mind controlled by Kilgrave to go and kill Jessica Jones' best friend. Then there's a whole arc where the best friend and him fall in love and they do all this stuff, but it's when we get slight little hints of him having like a little dark side to him. He wants to kill Kilgrave. He doesn't.
Yeah, I mean,
He doesn't want to
Understandable,
arrest
so.
him or do any of that stuff. And the whole reason why they couldn't arrest him is because they needed him to prove a character's innocence. There's this character called Hope who, it's in the end of the first episode, is mind controlled by Kilgrave to kill her two parents. And that is very dark as it is. But they need Kilgrave alive to prove her innocence. But Nuke doesn't care. He's like, I just want to kill this guy.
Yeah, he's like,
and then he gets into an accident, and it's revealed that he is Nuke from the comics. We get the red, white, and blue pills. We see the organization he was working for, and it's also tied into Jessica Jones. I think it's GIN is the name of the corporation or the organization, and they're directly connected to Jessica Jones' powers in some way. So when she was younger, she got into a car crash with her mom, her dad, and her brother. She was the only survivor. And the GIN corporation were the people who like nursed her back to health before
used her as an experiment because she was going to die otherwise, kind of thing. Yeah, which I mean, not that I approve of that, but
what are you gonna do?
What really can you do in a situation like that?
But I thought it was just very interesting, and I've only watched the first season of the show, so I don't know if in the second or third Nuke like gets killed or something.
Yeah.
But I did wonder, now that I know Nuke is in the show and Jessica Jones is confirmed for Daredevil Born Again Season 2, if they bring Nuke into that show, because in the comic storyline Born Again, Nuke does play a very integral role to the end of that story. So I don't know if they will,
I
or
have
if
a feeling we're going to get
but it
Iron
would be
Fist
interesting.
and Luke Cage before we get...
No, I don't doubt that.
Like, for sure. Like,
I don't doubt
if
that.
both of those guys show up in Born Again, then I could see maybe them pulling Nuke. But
I don't
otherwise,
expect them to, but I think it would be cool.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, if he's a part of that storyline, you would want him to show up.
Obviously.
Like, but, yeah. So, anything else?
Nope.
So, final question. What would you rank it?
I don't want to say the show or this first season is an S tier because it did take me a little bit to get into it.
And I mean, you said it was episode 6 or 7, so I mean,
but once
it's halfway through the show before you said you actually started enjoying it. So
it's not that I didn't start enjoying it; it just didn't hook me in the same way.
Yeah, sorry.
All episodes were enjoyable, but I didn't really get into the show until about that.
If we weren't doing this, you would have turned it off.
After probably,
like I did.
But once I got into the show, it really showed me how good it was, and I really hope season 2, the first episode, does hook me in the way that episode 6 did. So I wouldn't give the show an S tier. I think I'm going to give it an A.
You would give it an A?
I'd
not
give
a B, even though it's kind of a
when it gets good, it's so good, is the only thing. So I think I'd give this an A tier, probably bottom of A. At this, well, what do we have in A? We have in the show rack. In the show
rack, you have Daredevil at S, and then you have Jessica Jones at A.
Yep.
So
I'm just thinking where it would land in the movie. We'll figure it out. But
that'll be a separate video. Personally,
it's not.
Like, we should do a combining of the tier list as a separate video.
Yeah, it's not the top of A tier if we're taking the movies into place, but it is an A tier show.
Okay. Any final thoughts?
No, I figured we could add in another segment where if you have any questions about the show, you could ask me them now.
I mean, for Jessica Jones, probably won't. I mean, I know for Luke Cage and Iron Fist, there's probably some that I'll have.
Yeah.
For Jessica Jones in the show, it didn't get me as much. So, I don't have any.
And I think the reason why it didn't hook you is because this show, even though it is a good show and you can watch it if you're anyone, is geared towards females more.
Yeah,
it definitely is a girl power show, but it doesn't.
It's not like Captain Marvel.
Yes, it's not woke where it's like, I'm a girl, I'm better than you at everything.
It's like, because I'm a girl, I'm better.
It like, literally just shows that Jessica Jones is a capable, powerful woman. It shows that her adoptive sister or best friend, I guess, is a capable, powerful woman. Every female in the show commands the room when they walk into it, and I thought that was just really cool. Especially when we get characters like Luke Cage and Nuke, who are also like powerhouses.
I guess this is one question. Luke Cage doesn't have his powers yet.
No, he does.
Does he already?
And we don't. We don't get.
I thought he didn't have them.
No, he does, and that's actually really interesting because we don't see how they got their powers. Yeah. It's alluded to where they're talking to each other about their powers, and Jessica Jones is like, "I got mine in an accident." He's like, "I got mine in an experiment," and that's it. Until about the last 2 episodes where you find out about the GIN corporation and everything. But that's a separate thing.
Experimentation.
And the whole reason why Luke Cage is in the show is actually because Jessica Jones killed Luke Cage's wife.
Oh.
Which she was ordered to by Kilgrave.
Yeah, so.
But once Luke found out, there was a bit of tension there, as you could probably expect, because Jessica Jones didn't tell him. And they did form sort of a relationship.
Yeah.
So if you like form a relationship with someone and then find out that person killed your your wife, like, yeah, that's not going to go very well.
Yeah.
But this was a very, very cool show, and I did enjoy watching it for the most part.
For the most part. See, that's why I was thinking you were going to put it at D. Because, like,
once it gets good, it does really, really get good. That's why I put it in an A. And I'm also just thinking about like everything else that we've watched, and I'm like, if I don't know, Ant-Man was a 13-episode show, I don't think it would hook me in the same way as this did.
Yeah.
So I think I do give it a little bit more because while sure the beginning episodes didn't hook me as well, I think if the show was a movie, it probably would have gotten.
It would have been. Well,
better.
I mean, it would have been cut down, so you wouldn't have had a lot less slow parts. But unless they were bad at cutting it down, in which case you would have had an awful movie.
Yeah, but this show deserves to be in the A tier.
Excuse me. But okay, yeah. So
that's all. Go. Yeah. All right. Thank you all for watching the Jessica Jones season 1 review. I'm Bladen. That's Joe. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, do all the things, and we'll see you in.
And quick note for anyone paying attention: we are recording these kind of out of order from where we do our movie reviews. So before people leave comments and they're like, Civil War's already up there, like before Civil War comes out, it's out of order.
We have to sort of do that where we record them out of order. They're all being released in order, but we need to make sure we're ahead. So just in case 1 week we can't record if something comes up, whether he's sick or I have work or something, something in that vein, we need to make sure we have the video and it's ready to come out that week.
Yeah. So before people start leaving comments about little details like that.
Yep. But with that said, that's all, and goodbye.